We are pleased to welcome Mr. Rajib Maitra, Partner and Executive Advisor at Deloitte India and proud alumnus of IIM Calcutta. With over 20 years of experience, Mr. Maitra has driven strategy and transformation initiatives, leading more than 60 projects in areas such as business transformation, ESG, and digitalization across global mining metals value chain. Bringing deep expertise in critical mineral sustainability and regional market dynamics, he offers rich insights into how the mining sector can transform in today's world. Let's welcome Mr. Rajib Maitra.
So very good afternoon to all of you. Good to be back in the campus. So just my introduction. I am a PGP 2003-2005 hot-air batch. Spent 2 years. I think this campus has changed a lot. When we had our courses, I think we had a batch strength of across DCM and DM of around 180. I don't know what is the batch strength now. So, and it was very quaint campus at that point of time. I think this building was not there. The ABC, the block, that was the entire block. And yeah, I think we had a lot of fun. We had 3 hostels. And yeah, I can keep coming back. And thank you for this opportunity to for coming here again and sharing my views. So just an introduction, I am a partner. I lead the metals and mining sector for Deloitte South Asia, which is India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Mauritius, Maldives, a few other countries. And though my focus is on metals and mining, cement as a sector, but I also focus a lot on the technology and digital from the advisory side of things. Because I think my previous speakers talked about that how technology is changing and business will be at the core of any technological change going forward. And technology will not drive business, rather business will drive technology going forward. And that's been the trend we are seeing across the world. So this is the tech trends report. The Deloitte comes out with the tech trends every year. So there are 2-3 reports. One is the tracking the trends, which talks about my sector, which is globally metals and mining and cement, how they're doing. And I can see a lot of you from the manufacturing, metals and mining. So I think you can relate to the topic. This is around the tech trends, what is happening. So this was started globally in US, and we have taken leap and started this for India as well. So there, I think I have around 20 minutes, I think, total. So I'll talk about 6 large trends that are shaping technologies globally and in India. I think one of the things that we should all recognize that we are at a tremendously turbulent environment globally. If you see the total population global is around 8 billion. Roughly 800 crores. More than half of the population today is in conflict. If you see, I was surprised that suddenly Cambodia and Cambodia and Thailand, they had a conflict. There are conflicts cropping up almost every week, month, and it is impacting people, and there is also impacting how in terms technologies are going to be driven, because there are a lot of we call it resource nationalism. Now we are talking about technology nationalism. I'll come to the example. What has happened recently, it happened 3 days before. So there are 6 trends. It talks about spatial computing. How many of you are aware of spatial computing? So spatial computing, I talk about it's basically a culmination of geospatial, AI, ML, and other technologies, where GIS is becoming a very important thing, and that's why we're seeing a lot of application of drone, satellite, surveillance, and all those data, and how we are actually converting that into meaningful insights is something that is going to be very important. And as you are all aware, India is planning to be a global leader in space. That space is a major sector that the government is talking about. So few sectors, semicon is one, the emerging sectors, defense is one. India has a target of exporting 50,000 crores of defense equipment by 2030. The third area is space, and you will hear a lot about space, space tech. In fact, Reliance, I think they invested in a space startup recently. I think there was I think Digantara is the right startup. So that is one. The second is I'll talk about AI and how AI is changing. And the third is very important, hardware. So far we have been talking about cloud. Everybody has been talking about cloud, how Azure, AWS, GCP and others. But more and more, with technology nationalism coming to the foray, people are moving towards on-premise. I'll give an example what happened recently. Why people moved and why people are thinking about, especially the government, and either on-premise or a localized cloud instead of others. Then IT amplified is the fourth trend, which is basically these are the elevating forces which are the emerging, but some of the, I would say, grounding forces, which is the platform, is around IT amplified. But IT is, as I said, business is driving IT, not the other way around. And how business and IT are going to sort of integrate. I think one of the speakers, he said that tomorrow the coding will not be done by humans. It will be in the repetitive jobs will be going to the AI and machines. The humans will be there to take decisions, and what insightful decisions we can take, what critical thinking we can do, that is what is going to drive tomorrow's future. And the fifth element is cyber. And this happened recently in the recent trends, recent events in the earlier this year. There were, I think, the number was not, there were some 80,000 cyber attacks on government installations in that time. So cyber across cryptography and others are going to be very important in the scheme of things. In fact, crypto is driving some, I would say, geopolitics also today at this point of time. Some of the countries are coming closer because of crypto. I'm not going to that, you are aware, you've read that. That is one. And last is, of course, the core, which is the entire SCADA, the entire sensors, the entire ERP, and some of the other transaction softwares. They are going to be very important, and I'll talk about what is happening there in terms of the transition. So, transition of some of the softwares, how they are moving, and what is going to happen going forward. Right? So these are the tech trends now. So this is very important. Like the entire spatial computing landscape is changing, and we are seeing that, of course, with AI, of course, with AR, VR, of course, with IoT, and these are all culminating into multiple use cases. For example, there are some use cases which will make it's easier for you. For example, I work in mining, so I talk about metals mining and how it's changing. So what we are seeing is satellite imagery, AI, ML. It will actually determine where I should invest in a mine or a mineral. Today, as I speak, GSI, which is Geological Survey of India, they are trying to set up a lab in Bangalore, which is called Data Processing Infrastructure Lab. So where they are going to take the satellite data, which is again a GIS and other kind of data, satellite and GIS report data that will come, and then they are going to say that based on the geology of that particular area, whether it is going to have a lithium which is worth investing, or whether I should not look at that particular area, I should look at elsewhere. So that is going to be important. So this has been used globally, and for example, AI-driven mineral exploration, because it's a sector that I work in, it is quite common across the world. There's a startup called Metals, which kind of applies AI for exploration, and this is going to come to India, and this is something which is set up in India in a large way. The second is drones. We have seen what drones can do, right, recently. Like in the recent conflict, drones was at the center stage. in terms of both, and not only in India and if you see globally also some of the conflicts that are going on, drones has become a very, very important area. Same, drones, LIDAR. I don't know how many of you are aware of LIDAR drones. We are all aware, right? So they are actually being, used with AI, with GIS, to kind of identify safety issues. Tomorrow, for any mining to happen, you need to actually do, basically remove any forest area, divert the forest area. So one of the main important thing is how do we measure how many trees are there? Because what happens is, just for the pulse of mining, if I have to divert in forest area, I should know how many trees I have, and that same number of trees you can plant it somewhere else, right? So previously people used to do it by physically going and surveying. This is the kind of number of trees, this is the canopy covered area, and so on and so forth. Today, with drones, with LIDAR and AI, you can do it from a remotely also. So and also safety. Whether my operations are safe, be it a plant, be it a mine, be it any kind of metal processing. All these are being used, and GIS is the center stage. Some of the GIS platforms, I'm sure all of you are aware, they are integrating all these elements so that they can give insightful interpretation. Right? So this is one. As you go forward, we will hear a lot about spatial computing, and with satellite data becoming more and more available and more economically available, this will gain more and more traction. The spatial computing, and in all fields, but I have given an example of mining and metals because that is an area I work in. The second area is enterprise, the AI which is moved beyond one side. So what does it mean? So how many of what is the difference between LLM and SLM? Any idea what is SLM? Have you heard about small language models? Tell me an example of a large language model. GPT-4. What is small language model, and why people are moving towards small language models? And what are the benefit of small language models?
Trained with a dedicated set of information.
Right. Typically, large language models, be it a GPT-4 or any other. So DeepSeek is a large language model. They are using those kind of platforms. They are very expensive. But the benefit of a LLM is that it is trained on a large amount of data, billions and trillions of parameters, right? But SLMs are getting more and more important because this is a very customized data set. And organizations, they're focusing that instead of investing in so much expensive data or other so much parameters, I don't need that for my business, right? So SLMs and more customized, resource efficient, compact models are getting more and more prevalent. So this is a very important phenomenon we're seeing, and this will also drive how the AI is going to take shape. Because one of the major issue of AI is cost. In the organization, we say, if I invest in AI, is it cost effective for me? So this is a very cost effective and low cost alternative that we are seeing happening in globally and in India, right? And of course, I think Prashant talked about generative AI, talked about agentic AI, and so on. So I think of course, clients today, they are kind of coming to terms in terms of how do we use a GenAI use case in my business, how do I use an agentic AI use case in my business. But for example, recently we have done a project with Indria. I don't know, are you aware of this brand, Indria? Everybody. No, I think this is the jewelry brand. So the Indria, the entire design, and design is very customized design of jewelry. That is triggered by GenAI platforms. So we have designed the GenAI platform. So if a customer, I go to a store, I say that okay, I like this kind of shape, this kind of size, this kind of look and feel. and I tell the sort of a chatbot or a bot or any kind of platform that this is the kind of thing, it will automatically customize, and so that is a generative AI, visual, text, and so on, right? Now, I think that's one use case, and generative AI is also getting a lot of use in data. So a lot of contracts, for example, all these mining and metals have a lot of contracts, like a lot of contractors, a lot of vendors. So this can actually do contract management really well. It can summarize the contracts and summarize some of the key features. Because contract management is one area where there's a maximum opportunity in enterprise, especially if I look at some of these conglomerates, they have to handle so many vendors. A lot of cases, the contract terms get, I would say, not recognized properly or interpreted, etc. So this is something that is helping. But more importantly, is what we are seeing today. Agentic is becoming more and more prevalent because generative AI does not help you take decisions. That is not a decisive factor. Agentic can help say, okay, this is the decision, this is the pros and cons, this is the, it can actually trigger the decision to an action. So that is something that we are seeing, and what we are seeing is agentic AI being used by companies in the manufacturing for optimizing production, taking scheduled decisions. It is also used for example, it's primarily that, and of course, any kind of allocation of equipment, allocation of machines that can be triggered. For example, I don't know how many of you have worked in a mining company. Anybody? So are you aware of the fleet management? What it happens? So fleet management is basically what happens is I have a mining plan, I have a schedule, I attach equipment against my daily schedule, right? And then we optimize it, moves on, and the software. Agentic AI can actually decide on behalf of me if I am a planner that this is the equipment, this is the pace you want to attach the equipment because it will give you maximum productivity for the day. So that is something that AI is helping. So this is what we are seeing in AI is also helping in exploration. I mentioned that. But the third one is very important. So today, there's a hardware is eating the world. So are you aware of which is the most valued company in the world at this point of time? NVIDIA. What is the market cap of NVIDIA? 4.24 trillion. What is the total GDP of India? It's around 4. That means NVIDIA is more valued than the entire country together. I'm just figuratively saying, of course, GDP it may not be equivalently spent. Now, the second one is are you aware of what happened recently with Microsoft, with one company in India? 3 days back. So are you aware of this 𝗧𝗏 Microsoft issue?
𝗧𝗏 system, Microsoft stopped providing the solution.
Yes, why is that so?
𝗧𝗏 has filed a suit in.
Why did this stop?
Because of that US sanctions on Russia. Because 𝗧𝗏 is mostly using the Russian oil and they were started.
Correct. No, why sanctions on Russia? What is the relation with 𝗧𝗏 and Russia?
Because it's mostly owned by the Rosneft because the Russian government.
Rosneft has 49%.
49%.
So Rosneft has 49% of 𝗧𝗏. And there's an act in US called RISA. I don't know how many of you have. Reform for Intelligence and Secure America. That's the act. So which says that, which actually governs that how even software firms are going to, I would say, deploy software and give license. So 𝗧𝗏 has 49% Rosneft share. And 3 days back or 4 days back, Microsoft stopped its services, including the Azure cloud. And this has gone into interactive and code and all those things. Now the software, the services have been restored. But this puts a question mark around how companies are going to take action going forward. So is geopolitics going to also determine that how software companies are going to provide services? And the question that people are having today is that, can I, any country, any company, can I fully depend on putting my data on cloud versus keeping it on-premise? And if I have to put it on-premise, what kind of GPUs? What are the GPUs? What is the NPU? Neural processing, right? And do I put hardware? And so far, I think the narrative that we have been having in the last few years or decades is that I need to move to cloud. Cloud is scalable. It is on a service as a charge. Whatever bandwidth or whatever space I take, I'll pay according to that. But with geopolitics coming and entire issue about how companies are looking at or countries are looking at, in terms of, is it going to be important? So now I think all these companies as well as governments, I mean, it can happen anywhere in the world, they are thinking that, how do I protect my data? Do I need to put my own cloud? Do I need to put my own hardware? And will the hardware? So there's a large amount of hardware. So it's not about GPU. GPU is used in, why Nvidia got so much famous? Because they made AI chips, right? That's why they have $4.24 trillion market cap. Now you will see a lot of investments now in hardware. And there is going to be a balance between cloud and hardware and on-prem. So far, I think at least 5 years back, the narrative was, you don't need an on-prem. You can actually go with cloud. Now it's changing. Now it's because of all these things, and this is going to be more and more prevalent, right, going forward. So that is one thing that we are seeing, and also I think the focus is on India-made chips. So focus is on, do I have my own countries? I would say cloud NICs of the world would be more important. Local cloud would be important versus some of the multinational cloud companies. And this is a question that is emerging in the people's mind. And then I think the other is India-made chips. Chips like locally domestic. The entire the focus on semiconductors, getting chips made in India is how do we become self-independent, Atmanirbhar per se, right? So that is there. And then of course I think these are all some of the things that we are seeing. NVIDIA Hopper GPUs, I think all the players are investing a lot of money and effort in infrastructure, be it on-premise, be it their own GPUs, what kind of computing power they have and so on. So hardware is going to be a very important thing. There was a term which says software is eating the world. It's changed to hardware is eating the world, right? And there is the recent phenomena which is also going to impact how things will unfold. Then I think the next one is IT amplified, which is basically, which says that the capabilities of tech talent, as it was said previously, that the talent will not be that how good I can do coding. Because coding, whoever is doing any coding, it will be replaced by machines, or AI. So basically the important thing is that how am I going to drive business benefits? What all KPIs, whatever I am thinking or the solution I am thinking, what KPIs, what business benefits will that particular solution or a technology platform drive? That is going to be important. And how scalable and cost effective, and of course AI will be very important. So that's going to be very, in the, so if you see this, again I think AI is at the center stage. But I think also important to understand is AI and is being used for even training people. The training modules are getting done by AI. As I said, AI is doing a lot of designing. AI is coding. So it's mostly the business aspect which are going to change based on technology. The next is of course looking at cyber. As I said, recently I think 80,000 cyber attacks happened. There's a lot of focus across companies on cyber. And what people are saying that there are aspects like cyber strategy, but also how do I have a secure operating network? How do I have what you call a soft knock? So those things are there, and a lot of people are actually investing in their own cyber security networks as well as. For example, today, why cyber is important? Because you may be protecting your IT assets, but you have a lot of OT assets, like you have this sensors, you have equipment, they are also integrated. So you need to overall look at how you are protecting, and with the changing scenario, this is also becoming more and more important for our future. Last is, of course, I think the internal core, which is the entire core modernization. So core modernization in terms of how do I move? I think Industry 5.0 was talked about. How do I move my core platforms with the ERP? So now people are moving towards some of these newer platforms like S4HANA, the AI is on S4HANA and so on. People are also looking at much more better sensors so that the data and it's a digital, physical to digital and digital to physical, so that the data signals can flow effectively, and with a robust data governance, because data is important. Last is of course cyber security, so that you can actually have a very secure network for your information. So this is what we are seeing globally happening around manufacturing and mining. Yeah, done. This is the last slide. So this is what I wanted to say about the tech trends. I think just to summarize the first slide. So these are the trends, and you'll see more and more, especially the hardware aspect is very important. You'll see more and more around the AI, how AI is going to change and how the jobs are going to change. So we need to be very, very conscious about what skills we are bringing to the table. The coding skills will not be that relevant. The business skills will be more relevant, as has been in the past as well. And last is, of course, we will also look at the entire new technology, be it spatial computing and be it the entire around cyber is going to be also key. So these are the tech trends that Deloitte published this year, and I thought of sharing this with you because some of these are very recent and very relevant in the time context. Thank you for your time.